Hey y'all, it's your girl, Dr. J, and I would like to welcome you back to or welcome you to my YouTube channel where you can let it flow with Dr. J. So, the title of this message is Customization Takes Time. And this message came to me as I was spending quiet time with God and talking to Him about a few things that I have been praying and waiting in expectation for. And as I was talking, I said, Lord, it feels like I am continuing to ask, seek, and knock. Well, sometimes it feels like I'm begging instead of knocking. And it's just like, whoo, it's a lot right now. But I said this to him after reading Psalm 27 in the Message Bible. And the interesting thing for me was I usually read from the NIV or the New King James Version of the Bible. And I go to the Message Bible if I'm having a moment and need the word broken all the way down for me so that I can really understand it. But this morning, the Message Bible was the first Bible that I came across. And I'm actually glad that it was because it clarified some things for me. So as I was reading Psalm 27, I came to verses 7 through 9, and it said this: Listen, God, I'm calling at the top of my lungs. Be good to me. Answer me. When my heart whispered, Seek God, my whole being replied, I am seeking him. Don't hide from me now. You've always been right there for me. Don't turn your back on me now. Okay, so if you have never read Psalm, or as some of us like to say, Psalms with an S on the end, 27, this chapter can be viewed as a declaration of David's faith. In fact, reading the book of Psalm will show you many of the trials and tribulations David went through, the adversities and the uncertainty he faced, the challenges he had to deal with, the enemies he had to deal with, and how he called on God to help him through his struggles, but also how he rejoiced in the Lord and who he is. There were moments when David was like, I know you got me. I know you are my shepherd and I shall not want. But there were also times, like in chapter 27 in his life, when David was like, God, where are you? Do you see me? Do you hear me? I'm calling on you to rescue me, and yet I'm still waiting for you to show up. So David went through in his lifetime pain, hurt, fear, uncertainty, seeking forgiveness and protection, and rejoicing in the Lord. So many of the things that we typically go through. He went through a range of emotions and feelings as he prayed, hoped, inquired, rejoiced, and reverenced God. But in chapter 27, a chapter that I've actually read several times before, on today, my mind stopped and meditated on verses 7 through 9. And I found myself saying, See, God, see what David said? This is how I feel. This is how I'm actually feeling in my life. But it was in that moment that God spoke to me and said, Customization takes time. The funny thing about this is, I know that customization takes time. This is not something that I was unaware of, but it was something that God needed me to remember in the moment where I was actually reminding Him of how I feel and the weight that I have endured and just where I am in the moment. So when he brought me to Psalm 27 this morning, he already knew the verses that would cause me to stop and think and seek clarity. But he also knew that seeing these verses would allow him to remind me that I must remember that customization takes time. But what he also did was, this is an opportunity for him to share with me that this is something that we all need to be reminded of. So, all of his people, we need to be reminded that customization takes time. And honestly, I think this is something that many of you, many of us already know, but sometimes we do need the reminders, especially considering the world, or should I say the nation that we live in if you're in the US, because we live in this sort of microwave society that gets impatient and wants everything to be convenient and ready when we want it. A society that tells us that everything should happen quickly or it should happen fast, but it doesn't always work like that. It just doesn't happen like that all the time. So, to really help you understand where God is going with stating customization takes time, think about it like this. And I'll give you two different ways to look at this. First, when you go to a restaurant and you place your order and you make a request for your meal to be prepared in a certain way, it usually takes time for you to receive it. So even for me, I'm the person who doesn't like salt on my fries. So I would ask for no salt or no seasoning on my fries, unless it's Wingstop and it's a little fry seasoning they sprinkle on there. Because I'll take that. Not too much though, but I'll take a little sprinkle or two. But even then, I still have another request, which is for my fries to be fried lightly because I just don't like crispy fries. These things are my preference. So I'm going to ask for what I like, but I also have to remember that my order will now become a special request or a customized order that I will have to wait a little longer to receive because of what I asked for and how it has to be prepared. The other way you can look at this is the same way when you go to the dealership and you are ready to purchase a new car. There may be certain features that you desire to have in the car that will take additional time to customize. So, for example, let's say we're going to Mercedes, Lexus, Audi, however you pronounce it, wherever you're from, BMW, or any other fancy dealership like that. And, we have our eyes on a certain vehicle, but there's also certain features that we desire to have in the vehicle. And if the one that we're eyeing doesn't have all of the features that we desire, to ensure that we get exactly what we want, the dealer has a list of things that you can add to fully customize your vehicle. So, for example, let's say if I desire to get a Mercedes, those typically come with standard features, all the bells and whistles, and certain ones depending on the vehicle type or the model that you get. So if I decided I wanted to take my GLE, but I wanted to have the GLS features in it, some of the things that's offered in that one, I have to look at the form that gets really specific about features so I can determine how I would like to customize my vehicle. The dealer would take my selections and give me my lovely price tag for these items as well. But what they're also going to do is remind me that what I'm asking for is going to take time. They're going to let me know that this is a special order or request that's going to take additional time for them to get ready. Now, depending on what I ask for, it could be a few weeks or a few months before I can even receive the vehicle. It will definitely take months if I ask for a vehicle color other than white, black, silver, or gray, because this is what Mercedes typically produces. They manufacture these same colors over and over again, but rarely do you see twilight blue, which is actually one of their colors, green, red, or anything that stands out from the rest. So asking for a different or rare color automatically adds a wait time unless they happen to have the vehicle on the lot or somewhere nearby. But even then, the vehicle still may not have all of the features that I desire for it to have. So this request is going to take time. This customization is going to take time. And that's one of the things that we have to think about. If you want what you ask for and you want to receive quality at the same time, it's going to take time. And this is what God needed me to see, and what he often needs his people to understand. When we go before God and make requests or petitions, there are some things that may happen immediately, some things that we're immediately ready for. It's immediately ready for us. But there are some things that when our prayer request is specific, and there are certain things that God needs to ensure happen. So certain people and places God needs to get in order or to prepare for us to receive that quality, to receive that good thing, to receive that God-sized blessings. It's going to take time. What is being crafted, built, prepared, or customized specifically for you will take time. If you want what has your name on it or what was created with you in mind, then you will have to wait for that thing or those things to be prepared just for you. But if you're not willing to wait for what's yours and what has been created or prepared with you in mind, yeah, you can easily go out and get something quick and fast. But the thing about that is you now have to keep in mind that whatever it is, it was not created with you in mind or specifically for you. So that thing may not be as fulfilling or as desirable as it once was, because you will find out sooner or later that it really wasn't for you. It really wasn't created with you in mind. And we especially find this out when we're praying and we've been praying for a long time and waiting for a while. And we try to now force things, manipulate it, change it, or to get to the blessings on our own because we're tired of waiting for God to do what he promised he would do or what we have asked for him to do for us. But the good thing and the beauty of God, the beauty about him and his nature, his characteristics is that God has gentle ways of reminding us, even when we try to fast forward through things, he still has gentle ways of reminding us of what we asked of him. Even in reading my Bible and having a thought like, I feel like I'm banging on the door and I'm still over here like, Lord, what's going on? And God immediately said customization takes time. That was a gentle way that he reminded me that he hasn't forgotten about me, my prayers, or the desires of my heart, but it's just that what I have asked of him is taking more time. He's customizing my blessing just for me. And because I have asked for very specific things, I must wait a little longer to receive these things. There may also be some things that God needs to do at his level that only he can do in the supernatural. And it's only the things that God can put his hands on that needs to be done before certain blessings can be released. So we have to be mindful of that piece as well. Everything just ain't ready for us in the moment when we pray and we ask for it. The other piece is God is not a genie in a bottle who is sitting around waiting for us to rub him so he can grant our request in the blink of an eye. Yes, he hears our prayers. He does hear our prayers when they're specific and even when they're not specific. But God also hears our hearts. He knows our thoughts and he knows who we are and exactly what we need. He knows us better than we know ourselves. So he knows what to give us and when to give it to us. There are some things that must be customized because there are also things that God must do in us before he can grant us that God-sized blessings or the desires of our heart. And there are some things that we ask for. Let's be honest on this piece as well. There are some things that we ask for or some lists that we make regarding things that God just, he's not going to do. It's not that he didn't hear us. It's not that he doesn't love us. It's that there are certain things that we just do not need. We may think that we need it. It may look like, sound like, feel like, seem like a great idea or a great thing for us, but God knows that's not what we need. That's not what we need. So we have to understand that that's one thing about God. He sees the future, he sees us, so he knows. Okay. And that customization piece works both ways. The same way we can pray and ask God for something specific, he can in return send us something specific that may not be what we asked him for exactly. But the good thing is exactly what he knows that we need. He customized it that way because he sees the you 5 years from now, but he also sees the you 5 minutes from now. So he knows what, who, and where we will need to be, and he will do exactly what needs to be done in our lives, even if it doesn't look like how we thought it would look or exactly like what we prayed for. But what we have to know is if God sent it, it is still customized with you in mind, even if it comes USPS international package delivery time and not Amazon Prime. If God sent it, know that it is his best and it was recreated and delivered with you in mind. So if you're someone who feels like David, or if you've had thoughts like I had this morning and I've had more times than I care to count, when navigating this thing called life, know that you are in good company. But also know that God wants to bless us. He desires to meet our needs. He wants to go above and beyond for us and to give us the customization that we need, but that he also desires for us to have. He doesn't want us to receive the Little Caesars blessings where we walk in and it's already hot and ready with zero customization or thoughts of you in mind. He wants us to be specific in what we ask of him, but to also remember what we've asked for, and to remember that he will always provide what we need exactly when we need it and in the way that we need it to be provided to us. So stay in faith, keep trusting in God's plan for your life, and stay rooted and grounded in the word of God. But also do this: get connected to like-minded people who you can learn from, who you can grow with, and who will challenge you, but who will also pray with, for, and over you, especially when you cannot do these things for yourself. Ask God to plant these people in your life and to put you in places where you can meet people who can help you. I'm even building a private online community through Facebook, and I'll share more information about that in the near future, because I know that there is a need for a community, because God has told me and shown me that there's a need for healthy communities, to cultivate those type of healthy, non-toxic communities. And so he's shown me this in various ways through people that I meet, and from what I hear and see in a lot of the groups that I'm already in, especially groups for Black women and women and girls of color. There's a longing for healthy communities that will empower, support, and help individuals grow, but that will also develop you and help you to have a safe space where you can be vulnerable without fear of being judged, ridiculed, or mistreated, and ones that will help you navigate life, so that way you understand how to keep putting one foot in front of the other to get to your destination, wherever God is taking you. So has asked me to fill that void, particularly for, again, women and girls of color. So I am actually in the process of creating this. So stay tuned for more information. But in the meantime, I hope this message blesses you and it meets you at your point of need. I've dropped a few scriptures in the description. And as always, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. YouTube likes the comments, so that way the message can continue to get out there to other people. But you can also connect with us on Instagram, and you can see the coaching services, workshops, and motivational speaking that is offered through Her Divine Connection by using the information that I'm going to put in the description as well. I hope that you will connect with us and receive that all God has to offer for you and your life. So peace and love. It's your girl, Dr. J.